Welcome to Into the Mind of a Madman. You are now rocking with me, the Madman, and today the conversation I had with myself was Cat Williams and Monique on Club Shay Shay. Cat Williams and Monique on Club Shay Shay sparked an interesting conversation in my brain today. It was more so one of facts versus perception and how sometimes we as individuals need to stop using our perception as facts. A lot of times when things happen to us or said about us or whatever, a situation may just happen and we view it in a certain light because our past experiences, our past understandings or our understandings of things, that we view our perception as what's true and right. And a lot of times it takes a strong person to step aside of ourselves and start examining things from other people's perspectives and views on it. And a person who I believe does this very well, at least this is what they preach, is Star. I'm a huge supporter and fan of Star going back to my high school days back in 2001 when I discovered him on, I want to say I discovered him on the radio, but I also watched him on public access television, BCAT at the time, living in Brooklyn. He had a show on BCAT that came on with him and Buck Wow. But, for the most part, I still watch him today, 2024, The Star Report. And he just preaches objectivity and, his preachings of Ayn Rand, the author. And, like, so I'm kind of just a big believer in, I understand my perception on things. I understand my feelings on things, but I also have a viewpoint of how other people may view it and try to combine the two to come up with a more sensible understanding to the whole situation. And with in the case of Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay, I viewed a lot of things as either him telling the truth about something and his perception on what actually happened. And I'm not here to call either one a liar. I'm not even here to call Cat Williams or Monique a liar. To me, I interpreted a lot of the things that they said was facts or perception. And for the most part, I really can't speak to Cat's perceptional views because it is his perception, but it also is not public. I know a lot of interviews he's done. He spoke out on at least Kevin Hart. I didn't heard him speak out on Kevin Hart quite a bit of times. I've I've seen his viewpoint on a certain number of things, but it's nothing that to me that came across my timeline to where I can make a point of what happened back and forth with in between somebody's his outlook on a certain particular situation. So with that being said, I'll leave Cat to the side just because, far as my view, I can only just feel like some things are true and some things I just think is his perception. With Monique, quite a few things played out in public. And I'm here today specifically to talk about the thing with DL Hughley that played out and the Tyler Perry situation. Now that didn't play out in public, but recently after the Club Shay Shay interview, the audio between her and Tyler Perry was released. I'm not saying I got the full audio because I heard it a couple different places, and I'm just gonna tell you my viewpoint from the few different places I heard audio taken from. Because I believe, even on YouTube, people may mark it as full audio, but then you hear it somewhere else, then it may be seem chopped up. It may seem, oh, this had a little bit more than this other one. So I'm not even going to be taking the stance of going against Monique as in I heard the full audio. But this is more so how I view her her truth versus her perception, right? So I guess as we speaking on the Tyler Perry thing, we could just get to that. Well, after hearing the audio, because in the Club Shay Shay's interview, she said the audio shows, or you can hear Tyler Perry admitting to doing her wrong and starting a wrong rumor about her to blackball her. And the audio that I heard from different versions of the audio, I would say, like I said, I believe it wasn't all one audio. Like people just broke it up into the part they wanted to use. So the compilation of audio throughout the whole audios that I heard, whether it was about 15 to 20 minutes of audio altogether, I've never heard Tyler Perry actually admit to spreading a rumor about her. What I heard him admit to was understanding that she had a right to not do international promoting. He admitted to him, like he agreed that it was wrong for people to make her feel a way about not promoting internationally when she wasn't contracted to. I also heard him admit that his position was, I still think it was difficult to deal with you within the whole situation. Now, I'm going to break all of this down, right? After I said all of that to say the way I believe it went from the outside as a fan, right? Looking in, is Monique was contracted to do a certain amount of promotion here in the US. She did that. As Monique said, the truth, right? The truth was they wanted her to do international promotions for the movie, maybe because they felt like she was a star, or maybe they felt like she was so good she can sell it the most. Whatever it was, they wanted her to do. And at the time she made the contract, she wanted to spend with her family because she knew whatever. And so I believe whoever she was dealing with at the time, whether it was just Lee Daniels and the whoever was on the project at the time, she told them no. She told them, we already scheduled this in. We already broke down this contractually. If you need me to do some more work, then you have to pay me and all of that type stuff. Lee Daniels and whoever management at the time for the movie, it was the movie Precious, They then took that conversation back to Tyler Perry and Oprah, because either came on at that time or was on, but they just wasn't involved in that particular contractual talks. At the time when Tyler Perry and Oprah had to step in, whatever they encountered with Monique in her management, Monique and her husband, who's her manager, he felt that to be a difficult situation. As we all know, two things can be true. Monique had a right to stand on whatever injustices she felt by not being trying to be forced to do international media when she already contractually put in that this is what has to happen. And so once Tyler Perry stepped in and tried to make things right or make things go smoothly at the point where he was needed, they said, well, you have to go talk to her to get her to do this. He felt that process to be difficult. And in the audio, he says this, and when he agreed that yes, you had the right to deny that, you had a right to not be made to seem as a difficult person, when you contractually you honored what you had to do. When it came to me and it was my turn to handle you and step in, I found that difficult. So if I wanted to use that, if when people spoke to me about the falling out of after that, that is my experience to have with you. I'm not saying Tyler Perry is right, but he's not wrong. If somebody has a difficulty speaking with my wife and they having trouble whether my wife is right or wrong, and they come to me saying, Brian, this is your wife, here's the situation, can you try to make something happen, will whatever. If I then go to my wife with the notion that this is a good thing to do or try to get her to do it, she doesn't have to do it. But even in my pursuance of trying to get it to do it, it may be a difficult time for me. Well, I'm having a difficult time as well. Not to say, like I said, not to say Tyler Perry should go around spreading any type of rumors about Monique, but his experience with you is his experience with you. He may have put on the table, Monique, I understand you worked out whatever you worked out with Lee and whatever production at the time, but I'm here. I'll make sure you get whatever you gonna get. I'll make sure you do whatever. I'll promise you this and that, but I need you there in 2 days. Or I need you there next week, or I need to at least set it up to where whatever's happening. At the time he had to step in, he felt it was difficult. And by your admission, Monique, you said, I'm taking this to be later on after this whole situation happened. When you spoke to the hairstylist or makeup artist or his assistant or somebody who he was with at the time, once the phone got hung up, this is what you said on Club Chase Say though. Once the phone got hung up, this person was in the room with Tyler Perry, and they said, well, I'm never going to pay her, because they were saying, well, just pay her what she's asking. And he was saying, I'm never going to pay her or whatever. So, like I said, he could have been telling you whatever he was going to tell you on the phone to get you to do the international run, and you made that difficult for him, even if you had the right to make it difficult. even if you had the right to, his encounter with you was difficult. So if you, like I said, if you are being difficult with Lee Daniels and whoever's on the movie promotion at the time, and they have to then call in Oprah and Tyler Perry to try to move you off of whatever stance you're taking, they can also have a difficult encounter with you. And their experience with you, when people ask, is yes, I had a difficult time with her. Right or wrong in your stance. And like I said, once you come to realize that, you can also take accountability. You and Sydney, your husband, can also say, you know what? I was still difficult with them too because I was still standing on what I was standing on. There's nothing wrong in that. But understand, you can be difficult to Lee Daniels, who's the producer or executor or whatever he was, the director. But if you're difficult to Lee Daniels, then he go gets his bosses. Like I can be difficult with my manager, but once my manager goes to another level and gets the top boss, if I'm still willing to stand on my stand and be difficult to them, they can have that position that they're difficult, and they may have more power than my manager. Tyler Perry and Oprah has more power than Lee Daniels, and they may blackball you. You, not that is right, but you have to understand that when the ladder gets pulled, when somebody starts going up the ladder of management and whatever, there are different consequences in that. So we have to start taking accountability. Like, well, maybe I could curse out Lee, but I can't curse out Tyler. Maybe I could curse out Lee, but I can't curse out Oprah. And if you do, you're going to have to sit in it. That's what I'm going to say on that. The facts versus perception. This, you and this thing with you and DL Hughley, I believe both of y'all are wrong. I believe both of y'all have y'all facts. And I believe both of y'all have y'all perception. And as a fan of both of y'all, I believe y'all both need to blame the promoter or the organizer. I don't even understand why y'all beefing with each other. I'm here to say this thing happened a few years ago, at least a year or two ago. I don't vividly remember, but I do remember it was a dispute over who's going to be the headliner of some type of comedy show. Like you did remind Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay, you was supposed to come on at 9 as the headliner. DL Hughley didn't get there till 9:30 or whatever, and you had to go on and you felt the way. And I do remember at the time, I think you put out a contract. His stance was look at the brochure, the flyer, and look at my contract. I remember all this at the time. I don't remember word for word or like everything verbatim, but like I do remember all of this coming out. And I believe like I don't understand. Well, I just don't understand why y'all beefing with each other, because obviously to me, the promoter or organizer of this comedy show could have agreed to both of y'all contracts. Maybe they didn't read y'all contracts. Maybe the promoter and organizer wanted both of y'all on a ticket and y'all sent over a contract, whether it be DL Hughley Management Company or it be you and your husband who is your manager. So maybe you had a more closer look at y'all contract versus DL Hughley, who may just receive a call from his management team. Yo, this person is trying to book you. These are the numbers. They agree to this and this and that. And we gonna send it back on your behalf or whatever. DL Hughley was cool with it. I don't know who books DL Hughley if it's necessarily that personal of an interaction. So he may just show up after his management books him somewhere. You get what I'm saying? Versus you who are more hands-on because it's you and your husband who is your manager. So what I'm saying is if the organizer or promoter, whoever it is, maybe they didn't necessarily break down and look at both of y'all contracts to say, okay, this person needs to be headlining, or this person's contract say they have to headline, or whatever it is. They just wanted both of y'all on the bill, so they just agreed to whatever came through at the time. I just don't understand how both of y'all can't see the other side of your truth, which is the other person's truth, and go, our beef is not with each other. Our beef is with the promoter and organizer. Cause I have a signed contract saying I'm the headliner. You have a signed contract saying you're a headliner. Now that I think about it when I'm saying this, I do believe at the time when Monique put out either one of them, I think it was Monique though. Don't quote me. I'm not here to bash Monique, but it just hit me at the time when Monique put her contract out. I want to say it wasn't signed by anybody. I think she just put out like a copy of her standard contract or whatever. But beyond that, if you ever just encounter a headline, this probably was your first time doing this, encounter this. I don't know, but what I'm saying as a fan is somebody who just paying a ticket to see Monique and DL Hughley. I just take it as y'all need to go at whoever the organizer is, because if you come in and the call sheet says you going at 9:30 and DL going on at 10:30 and you go talk to the promoter Monique and they say, well, DL is not moving his time, he's not going on before you, he'll never go on before you, or you say, well, I'm not going on before him and he need to get here, or I'm gonna just go on because the people I don't want the people to wait, or whatever. I just think y'all both, instead of being mad at each other, need to go, well, all right, if this is your contract, this is my contract, then obviously whoever signed our contract on the other side, who's the common denominator of this, we need to hold them accountable instead of beefing with each other. And now you're going on stage and you are making fun of him or his family and all of this type of whatever. Now, like I said, in the moment, it may not come off that way. I'm not even here to say in the moment of the comedy show, you should come to this conclusion. I'm saying a year or two later, hopefully it takes the next day or whenever, but a year or two later, y'all both going back and forth, and especially Monique, because you brought this back to the forefront on the Club Shay Shay podcast or interview. I don't want to say podcast, or the Club Shay Shay interview. You brought this back to the forefront. So this is why I'm coming to you, Monique. You should at least say, you know what? It may have just been a misunderstanding. And I believe you kind of handling it that way because, I really did. I'm not a big fan of the whole beef, so I didn't really see DL Hughley's response to you, but I heard about it through other people's podcasts. I heard about that, and I know you handled it. You and Sydney came and made a whole post and handled it gracefully, even though let DL get off what he needed to get off. But what I'm saying is, even in the Club Shay Shay interview, I believe you should have came forward in that interview and say, you know what, this what happened, but after I put my thought in it and I started thinking about my perception of the truth and the other his perception of the truth, I do believe there is some type of common ground that we could come to. And like I said, I have no issue with Monique. I have no issue with DL. I have no issue with Cat Williams. I'm just a fan. And like I said, this is more so a lesson in facts and perception. As people, we are when we are in the heat of the moment, as people, when we are just attached to our feelings, our look on life, our experiences, our traumas, I understand that it's hard to see things another way. It takes a lot of emotional intelligence. It takes a lot of intelligence. It takes a lot of humility. It takes a lot of empathy. It takes a lot of just understanding that our feelings, our mental space at the time may not be the best representative to put out into the world, right? So even if we do act out, we should look back at it and reflect and say, you know what? If there is another side to this, there is an actual person on the opposite side of us. Going back to Cat Williams, far as him and Kevin Hart, just Kevin Hart is a real person with a real family and a real work ethic and a real journey. So to put down his journey because it's not your journey, or to put down his way of going about things, to put down anybody's way of going about things when it comes to whether they want to kiss up to certain people, whether they want to put on a dress as a black man, whether they want to take shorts take the shorts that will affect the field. We all have these fights, right? There's a fight of, yo, if you take that short, if you take that route, it'll affect other people because now these powers that be will expect other people to take them shorts and take them routes. So it'll kind of exile me out that when I try to take my stance. These are real people with real life decisions, and just because it is not our decision, and we turned down that project, we turned down that route, and another person takes that route, we have to understand when we speak out on these things, these are real people affected by it. Even if they probably don't care, or even if they do care. I don't know if Kevin Hart really cares about Cat Williams' perception of him, but just his fans, his family, whoever, his kids one day will see this, and you calling this man a sellout and a plant and all of this. It's like, yo, Cat, if you feel like you had to turn that down, hey, if Diddy invites you to the party, you gotta tell him no. You just gotta tell him no. Listen, people gonna take their route. So what I'm saying is, the facts, that you give out is your facts, and they may be true, but also we hear the perception of what your truth is versus what the truth is. And we all, as a people, like I said, when it comes to other people in real life, not that you have to be friends, not that you have to embrace them, not that you have to be cordial. You can avoid them altogether. But when you do put this out there, you have to know there may be repercussions or backlash to it. Your perception may bring backlash to you because you are only looking at it through the lens of you. We need to be better, smarter, more aware, and we have to be more kind and or not. You know, we have to be more kind or not. If you just want to stir things up, then stir things up. I'm never mad at that. If you want to be the villain, be the villain. But understand, us as fans, us as sensible people, we do see the truth and we do see the perception of your truth.